Welcome to the show. This is your senior moment. It's young living or assisted living, and you can make your home a healthy home, and it all starts with you, and it begins right now. Episode 42 today. Episode 42, big day today. We're going to talk about hardware. Love your hardware store. Linktree in the bio. Find out everything that we do. Free products, free samples, free downloads. No free houses. Almost money is so cheap it's almost free. Coming soon to you, more stuff. 950 is the to-date count on push-ups. Month to date, 330, 930 the goal for the month, 27,290 for the year. So this week I was reading an article and they were talking about manly smells. You know what I'm talking about. Cigars, coffee, exhaust fumes from a car, all manly smells. Well, one of the things that they were pointing to was the manly smell of a hardware store. Now, a modern, bright, shiny, clean hardware store is not what they were talking about. It will have aisles of merchandise filled with prepackaged, sealed items neatly displayed. No, the hardware store that they were talking about is hard to find. He was talking about the old store, the one with the well-worn wooden floor that creaked when you walked on it. It had shelves, not merchandisers, and they're piled with treasure. Hinges, doorknobs, latches, and pulls of every kind. Copper, brass ones, new ones, and old ones. They took trade-ins back in the day. Repurposing, reusing, repairing was the norm practiced in the 50s and 60s. The hardware store is where you took that toaster when it quit working. They could fix it. Lawnmower on the fritz, no problem. Take it to the hardware store where they do small engine repair. They got a guy there by the name of Horace, and he can fix anything. Oh, yes, and then there's the electrical and plumbing aisles. They didn't call them departments back then. They were literally aisles of bits and parts, each tucked into a box, neatly or not so neatly piled onto the shelf. Some, based on the dust that was covering them, had been there for decades, just waiting for that special customer who needed that one special part. There was always the basement. Oh, the open staircase wide enough to drive a car down, taking you to the basement. That's where the good stuff was. Creepy, creaky, dark, musty basement, where all the leftover parts and merchandise made its final resting place. You see, they never threw anything away because you never know, you may need it someday. Then there was Jerry. Every hardware store had a Jerry. Jerry had been there for 50 years. He started working there right out of high school and just never left. Jerry is like a walking index, a walking encyclopedia, a walking computer. He knows where everything is in that store. From the paper clips and staples they used upstairs in the office to the half box of knobs in the basement left over from the special order from the Wilsons when they put new kitchen cabinets in. So, do such magical places exist today? Oh, yes, they do. Although rare, they're out there. Some are small and some have become massive businesses. When we needed metal doors for the restaurant, we called Twin City Hardware. Started in 1883, Twin City Hardware has become a massive hardware supplier for commercial, residential, and industrial applications. Then there is Garber's Hardware, the oldest hardware store in New York City, opened in 1884 and still owned and operated by the fifth generation grandson, and still have horseshoes on the shelf. In Chagrin Falls, Ohio, you'll find Chagrin Hardware. Started in 1857, it remains in its original building on Main Street. There you can find Steve, who started working in the family business in the fourth grade. He would clean vintage wooden ice boxes and prepare them for resale. Take a day trip to Pine City, Minnesota to Sauer's hardware store. Opened in 1909 and operated by great-grandson Mike Sauer by Mike Sauer. So the point of it is, in all of this, is that when you look at some of these old stores, you're not just going in there to see hardware. It's the smells, the atmosphere that brings you back, the history that's there. You can go back and some of those old items that are in the hardware store and see how things were done 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, and they still work today. And some things for ornamentation purposes are wonderful to have in your house as an accent piece. For our grateful moment, we have a piece of hardware of our own, and that is this more modern piece of hardware, and that is a LED light. LED light. Bright, easy, battery lasts forever, and the best of all is on the end of it. It's got this little tip here, so if I get stuck in my car underwater, boom, I can break the window and it will crash the window out and I can escape greatly. I like this little thing. I keep it in my desk all the time because it's so focused on the light that I can really see all the little nits and nerds in my keyboard when I'm cleaning it out. Okay, Herschel Walker time. Here's a quote from Herschel Walker. If you train hard, you'll not only be hard, you'll be hard to beat. So let's train hard today. Done my push-ups, sit-ups, deep knee bends already. I didn't do sit-ups, I did my push-ups. I did my deep knee bends and my toe touchers outside on the patio at about 4:15, 4:30 this morning. And now let's just wrap up our 30 sit-ups and then we can get on with our day. Okay, here we go. 30 quick sit-ups. Make sure I don't hit my head. Snap, crackle, pop on my back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Okay. So if you want to take a day trip, head up to Pine City, check out the hardware store. I think you'll find that it's a fun thing to do. Remember, the older you get, the longer you want to live. I'm Keith Hittner, Sr., and this has been your Senior Moment. We'll see you tomorrow.